All right, thanks, Laura. I am joined now by two of the most powerful people on the Notre Dame campus, two outstanding student leaders, the student body president, Bryan Ricketts, to my left here, and next to him is the student body vice president, Nidia Ruelas. Thank you very, very much for joining us. Talk a little bit about what went into your deciding to run for and then become the two top student leaders on campus.
Sure. It was a long process. You think about what are the student needs on campus, and what could I be best doing to help meet those needs. And I think for me, in talking to other students, this seemed like a great place to help make Notre Dame a better place.
Now, I know that there's a joke in the U.S. government that the vice president doesn't do much, but I know that's not the case in student government. So talk about your responsibilities.
Well, some of my responsibilities, probably the biggest responsibility that I have, is that I am the chairperson of Senate. So the Student Senate is a big voice on campus in terms of representing the various dorms on campus and bringing the different perspectives of the students that they serve. So they bring those kinds of ideas to Senate, and we hold discussions and pass resolutions that either amend the Constitution or express the kind of need that they want us in office to address.
Now, you just took office at the beginning of the month, but the election was earlier this semester. How close was the election?
We won by about 10 percentage points, but the other team was a great team as well. So.
Now, is this something you foresee doing after you graduate? Are you two going to start, and I shouldn't say politicians because it has a bad connotation, but a lifetime of community service?
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to get involved in public policy when I leave here. Yeah, I think it's a great place to make a difference.
Madam Vice President?
I agree. I think that we're both definitely going to stay involved because it's something that we're both very passionate about. That's something that became very evident during the campaign and into these first few months, both in transition and taking office. So,
now, you ran as a ticket.
Yes.
So what were the leading issues that you campaigned on?
Okay. So one of the main leading issues that we campaigned on is really to gather more student buy-in in terms of creating student active bystanders against sexual assault. Another big issue that was huge on our platform was diversity and inclusion and making sure that we ensure that we're doing our best to make sure that this is an inclusive campus to everybody. We talk about the Notre Dame community. We really want to make sure that everybody feels comfortable with that. And Bryan can talk about a couple of initiatives that we have coming up that are new.
Yeah, so one of the new frontiers in student affairs is really mental health. What are we doing to support our students in a place that's very, there's a lot of stress. So we've been very grateful here at Notre Dame to have endowed newly the McDonald Center for Student Wellbeing. It's got a great leader named Kelly Hogan, really taking the place to whole new levels in terms of how we're looking at our students' needs. And from the student government side, we also created our own Department of Health and Wellness. We've got a great guy, Rohit Fonseca, who's leading that for us, and focusing on certainly the prevention side, as in where are sources of student stress, and from that, how can we address them? Looking sort of externally, structurally, how are we making time for students, but also internally, where am I making time for myself, where am I making time for my faith, things like that. And then treatment. If things don't go well, if you have a chronic depression, we're working with our University Counseling Center to make sure students have adequate resources.
Now, you talked about being inclusive, and normally people think that that's gender or ethnicity. But when I was reading some of your campaign literature, and I found this very interesting, you talk about economic inclusion. Now, I've been here since 1982. The student body as a whole is much wealthier now than it used to be. There's a lot of very wealthy students on campus, but not everybody is very wealthy, and that can create issues when some students can do things that other students can't from a financial basis. And I know that's something you're both looking at.
Right, definitely. We're looking at the Rector Fund, which is a wonderful fund that particularly helps students that can't afford to do certain things like go to football games to get their tickets. One of the other things, the other sides that we're looking at is need in terms of academics, like should there be a fund for books, and that's something that we're really pushing forward, especially for students that can't don't even have the resources to buy their books for classes.
And that if they don't, that can create tremendous stress.
Exactly.
And it's
Absolutely.
already it's stressful enough to be here, because I've heard it's kind of competitive.
Yes,
Absolutely.
definitely.
And honestly, everybody at home can make a difference. If you go out and buy the shirt, the proceeds from that support this Rector Fund. So we really appreciate that.
And it's a really cool shirt this
Yes.
year.
Oh, it's great.
Definitely.
All right. Thank you both for the time, and thank you for
Thank you,
stepping
sir.
up and taking on this responsibility.
you.
And good luck in your terms.
Thanks.
All right.
Thank you.
We'll be back with much more of this hour of ND Day right after this short time out.